Conversations with a Citizen. I'm your host, Tia Carol Jones. I'm here today with Stephanie Coleman, 16th Ward Alderman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on this beautiful, gloomy, but it's a great day in the city of Chicago. Happy to be alive to witness it.
There you go.
So many didn't make it.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am the very proud alderman of the greatest ward in the city of Chicago, and that's in the 16th Ward. I represent Inglewood, West Inglewood, Chicago Lawn, New City, Back of the Yards, and now Marquette Park. Our boundaries are 51st to 71st, Halsted to California. Dips in and out a little bit, but I have the unique opportunity of representing now a predominantly African-American ward, again, thanks to the remapping that just took place in June of 2022. I have been a fierce advocate of bringing investments back to communities like Inglewood. When we think of the challenges that not only our city face, but we as a people and we as a community has faced, the biggest crime that has been committed to us has been disinvestment. At one time, Halsted was the second highest grossing retail district in the city of Chicago, next to State Street. I've witnessed my mother and our baby boomers and the generation before her tell me about how there were 3 movie theaters, skating rinks, retail stores, ma and pa stores, Reeboks, Sears, Loman's, Hillman's, all of these beautiful banks, all of the resources and opportunities that Inglewood once had, but no longer. So I want my grandchildren's children to know about that Inglewood. Every day I spread the word that Inglewood is excellent. It was once said that no good comes out of Inglewood, but all things great come out of Inglewood. And I talk about Inglewood because we're truly the heartbeat of the city of Chicago. When you think of Auburn Gresham, Chicago Line, Woodline, Inglewood is right there in the middle. We're the heartbeat. So bringing investment back, not only to Inglewood, but to Chicago Line, to Marquette Park that's now in the area, so that our children, our seniors, and everyone in between will have, and the new normal should be, we should be able to go outside and enjoy each other and enjoy our community. So that has been my number one priority, bringing investment, because investment comes with public safety. Investment brings about quality housing. Investment brings about investments in our schools and infrastructure, so that we have beautiful schools for our children to attend. We have beautiful housing for everyone who wants to be a homeowner to come back to our community.
Thank you for sharing your pride in Inglewood. I appreciate that. When did you know you wanted to run for public office?
Well, it was August of 2014. I was finishing my master's in nonprofit management, not knowing that I would be working for the largest nonprofit there is, called the City of Chicago, City Chambers Government. And I heard the announcement about Whole Foods on Fox News. And I said, wow, how can one of the most expensive grocery operators come to one of the poorest neighborhoods, centered where we are surrounded by all senior buildings? And it just didn't make sense. And I started to do a little digging and some due diligence, and I found out some of the incentives that were being taken from our TIF, one of the few TIFs that had a surplus at the time. And I said, wow, I think that we could have allocated $10 million to have been investment in Bath School or Nicholson School or Gershwin, who had just closed a year before, or Bond Temps on 58th and Troop that had just been closed a year. Why are we giving our hard-earned tax dollars to corporate? And look what it did 6 years later. Unbeknownst to me, while the reason why I ran is now the reason why I'm going to continue to fight, because Black communities deserve quality, affordable groceries. And I don't accept anything less than. That's why I decided to run.
How would you describe the 16th Ward and the needs that are unique to the community?
You know what? when I reflected on the old 16th Ward, second grossing, highest grossing retail district next to State Street, everyone came to Inglewood. Everyone came to 63rd and Halsted. If you lived in Inglewood, you know, that family that lived in Inglewood, you wanted to go to that aunties and that cousins because you knew the experience. So the biggest challenge is bringing back hope and opportunity and investment. But it has been difficult because of the black eye that we give our city. Inglewood is not what not the citizen, of course, but what media tries to portray of our community. That's not the Inglewood that I know and love. The Inglewood that I come from is Mother Turnipseed disciplining me when I didn't say yes ma'am or no ma'am when I came on the block. Or Miss Turner having me help her with her landscaping when she was planting tomatoes. See, that's the Inglewood that I know in turnip greens, right? The Inglewood that I know is when we helped Mr. Green over on Elizabeth clean up, where we took a vacant lot and we made it a beautiful community garden so that the kids wouldn't play out in the street. He bought the lot next to his house so that the children can play in that lot. See, that's the generational type of family that I know about the 16th Ward. And now I have the unique opportunity of bringing the black and brown community together by way of Chicago Lawn and Marquette Park, a Marquette Park when black folks weren't even allowed to come west of Western. Just last week, we found 2 nuisances on 58th and Artesian. So we're doing some educating on what it means to coexist, how community, the unity has to take place because our city is changing. Our city is shifting. If we don't shift with it, we're going to get lost.
How did your upbringing impact the work that you do?
Oh my goodness. Well, that's a great question. Being a pastor's kid. So my father, who's now 88, he's one of the oldest pastors in the neighborhood. I swear we stopped at the church before they took me home, leaving the hospital. So my foundation is faith-based. Both my mother and father. My mother is now bishop. My father is pastor. So the foundation of God-fearing, of faith and hard work, of serving our community. We serve others before we even eat ourselves, right? As a young child, holidays were not about what we received, but it was about what we did for others and helping others and being there for others. That is what I live by every day. First, I thank God for the opportunity to serve, and then I ask him, how can I do more and how can I help somebody so that my living isn't in vain?
So you've completed your first full term as alderman. What have you learned during this time?
Ooh. Oh my goodness, this is excellent. This term, 8 months into this term, I learned how to pivot very quickly in the pandemic. Life for us, even for you and your ways of communication, we have had to pivot very quickly to digital. And I want to credit Citizen because you all were one of the few publications who were already prepared in advance to, that's what young leadership will do, and having new faces and having some progressive thinkers around you, and the Citizen will live on because we're able to adapt and change quickly. I learned to be more effective in a different way. I learned that to utilize some of the tools in order to still keep in contact with my residents. And luckily I had the foundation of 8 months with community meetings, with making sure that we retained as much contact information, because I was able to call my seniors and just do wellness checks randomly during that time, that down period. We had to increase our media presence. We had to increase our newsletter presence. So these are some of the pivots that we had to make. And we also had to think, how can we serve and how can we help others in this pandemic COVID space, but still make sure that folks knew, especially my neighbors knew, that I'm still here helping. I'm still here. I'm not just kicking it sitting back serving or being your alderman from the computer via Zoom. But I got outside, and we were the first on the south side to get a vaccination site over at Access Health for the 606, 09, 36, and 21 zip codes. We were able to do, outside of the masks that were given to us, we hand-delivered masks. We mailed masks out. When USPS were not delivering our mail to our seniors, I got out there and got on that postmaster and got with Congressman Davis and then Rush at the time to make sure that our community received the same services as any other. Send us postal service workers to our sites so that our seniors can get their check and their medicine. When Walgreens closed, Walgreens corporate was the first over in Deerfield, the first that I called. My seniors need their medicine, especially right now. Those are some of the things that I had to learn very quickly because relationships were made within those 8 months, and we pivoted real quick.
Could you talk about some of the things you've been able to accomplish during your time as alderman?
Yes. One of the wonderful accomplishments was we have lost population immensely in the last 10 years. African American population in the 16th Ward. And I said that in the beginning, we now have a 65% African American. Just last year, it was only 48% African American population. And when you think of a community like Inglewood, you're like, oh, all black. It should all be black. But I wanted to maintain the integrity of a historically black community. I was able to welcome 500 families back to the 16th Ward by way of new housing. We opened the first 102 unit building for adults 62 and older right at 63rd and Green. We welcomed 36 mixed veterans and civilians, if you will, by way of the Hope Manor. We took 16 vacant lots and built 36 scattered housing sites between Green, Peoria, and May, 60th and 61st. Every homeowner that I knew, I went personally to celebrate them and congratulate them for coming back to your community and buying a home in your neighborhood. Right now we're promoting the Shy Block Builder and making sure that those that have been maintaining the lots, that they're able to get those lots at a percentage, and not just for developers, but for homeowners. Right now we're working on financial literacy for millennials like myself, so that my peers won't go to the South Loop and the Gold Coast and be rent poor. Come back and buy your grandmother's house. Come back and put work into your grandmother's home, because Inglewood is next. West Inglewood is next. Chicagoland is next. Marquette Park has beautiful housing. There's hardly no vacancies over there. But I want Inglewood to look like the same housing stock that Marquette Park has, as well as back of the yards. The Inglewood Music Fest was a vision that I had 8 years ago. The second year, we had 5,000 people outside on the block at 63rd and Halsted. Not one crime, not one homicide, not one argument, no incidental. Nothing happened the entire day. 5,000 black folks. 5,000 folks came on 63rd and Halsted to just have a good time, and we had resources. We had, from the babies to the baby boomers, we had something for everyone to do. And I must say, when I looked in that crowd to see so many people, majority black, it was a bunch of others, but I want people to come back to Inglewood and come back to our neighborhood and know that we're good, we're safe. You don't have to fear 63rd Street. You don't have to fear us. And this is just a picture of what we accomplished right on 63rd and Halsted. For Juvenile to come on 63rd and Halsted, Kendrick and the Family Soul to come on 63rd and Halsted was a major win. We have investments in Engage Park by way of bringing a new bank, Fifth Third Bank on 59th and Western, a Starbucks that will house 40 new jobs. Those jobs for students that want to go to college, tuition paid for. We have, what else have we done? We've done a lot. A new park. We took a vacant lot over on 60th and Whipple, and it's now a play lot so that our children can have a beautiful $500,000 play lot right there on the block. Operation Safe Pump. Myself and Early Walker with Kate Security, when carjackings, one of my church members that I know from Hope Presbyterian Church who lives in the ward was held at gunpoint on Christmas in 2020 in the daytime, just getting gas to go give her grandchildren their toys because it was in the pandemic, so she had to do a quick drop off. Was held at gunpoint at 10 o'clock in the morning on 59th and Ashland. So we quickly had Operation Safe Pump, where Kate Security had police security presence, both armed and unarmed guards, so that women and seniors will feel comfortable and they knew that eyes were watching at certain times. We did that pilot program for about 4 months when carjackings had just increased immensely. We're establishing the first SSA in Inglewood so that our businesses, we can get that investment. So constant cleanup, constant security, constant, consistent aesthetics. We love beautiful things, right? So our business should be uniform, and we need more small Black-owned businesses back to 63rd Street and brown-owned businesses on 63rd Street between Wallace to California. Just a few things.
Why do you have such a passion for the Inglewood community?
This is where I'm from. Born, bred, it's in my blood. I love Inglewood. I'm never leaving. I'm never giving up. I want my grandchildren's children to see the works of what Anna Langford did, what Shirley Coleman did, what Jim Taylor fought for, what Joanne Thompson died for. When I think of just the rich history and legacy, I have the opportunity to serve in the very same ward that the first African-American woman, not only the first woman, but the first Black woman served in this very same ward. It is my assignment to fulfill their legacy and to make them proud.
What impact has economic development had on the community?
Greatly. The disinvestment of economic development has impacted crime. It's impacted our schools being closed. I have 3 vacant schools right now, formerly 2, now 3 in the new, in parts of the new ward that I inherited. Housing. When I look at the vacancies of housing, knowing that my generation, financial literacy, totally skipped us due to the crack cocaine era in the 80s and 90s. That my peers were not taught to buy homes. We didn't talk about saving. We didn't talk about generational wealth. We should be homeowners and not renters. We should be landlords. We should have a 2-unit building so that when your cousin or when your relative get in a bind, that they have some place to go. That big mama, in my case, Mama Shug was our matriarch of our family. We still have our family building so that when in time of need, someone is able to come back home. But my generation missed out. So I'm even telling my immediate peers, buy mama's house, get a 2-flat, take care of mama. Healthcare is expensive. Well, Social Security benefits are limited. We have to take care of your family. That's the way to go, because trust me, others are.
Right. I want to kind of shift a little bit and just ask you for an update about the whole food situation.
Well, when I leave here, we have our first steering committee on grocery. I have conducted, along with the Inglewood 5, Let's Talk Grocery town halls, educating our community about the grocery business. And what we have found, especially now since the Jewel and Kroger merger, there are going to be more stores to close, especially when Jewels that are near Mariano's So I want to credit Alderman Pat Dow for getting ahead, because she's in that scenario with the Marianos and Jules right next to each other. So I'm rooting for them, right? We've had 3 grocery stores to close: Food for Less, Aldi on 76 and Ashland, Food for Less on 47 and Damon, of course Whole Foods at 63rd and Halsted, all closed within 3 months of each other. Of all stores that we, with the exception of Whole Foods, that we shopped at. Right now, because that was a privatized deal, Save a Lot has signed a lease to the Whole Foods location, and the very store that my community said we don't want is the very store that others have brought to my neighborhood. And I do what my community says, and if we don't want this grocer, we're going to do our best to make sure that we get a quality operator that's going to respect us, that's going to give us a quality product, that's going to be affordable, and that's going to hire us. That's the update that I have. So we'll see what happens after the 3 o'clock meeting.
Okay. How have you been able to involve the community in crime prevention strategy?
Every ward received a small micro grant. My micro grant of $100,000 went toward public safety. It went toward violence prevention. It went toward cleanup. So all the vacant lots, I have the most vacant lots in the city of Chicago, 2,000 city-owned lots alone. That's just city-owned lots, not the private lots that folks have bought, that a lot of people in Hong Kong that I've dated back in Silicon Valley, that I was able to trace back, are just sitting on because they're waiting for Inglewood to do a Bronzeville move. So they're sitting on the land, literally. So I had to get young people, by way of some of the violence prevention groups, to actually clean those lots. Give them a shovel, give them a rake, so that they won't get a gun. Put our people to work, put our young people to work, so they can beautify our community, beautify their community with an incentive that you'll have some money so you can get something to eat, that you'll have some money where you can get, go shopping. Those are some, we work with 7th, 8th, and 9th district police the districts. I'm very active in CAPS. I promote our beat meetings because it's so important that our residents know and get to know who your beat facilitator is, who your beat officers are. If you are fear or are intimidated and you're afraid to call 911, there's a monthly meeting where you can have a dialogue with your beat officer. We should know who our officers are. I constantly get on my districts. Where are our foot patrolmen? Where are our bikes? We go downtown. I see officers on bikes all the time. I want to see officers on bikes down 63rd in California and 63rd in Damon. Our officers cannot be afraid of us. So those are building those relationships. That's why I'm grateful that we have the new Empowering Communities Through Public Safety, where every district will elect 3 council members. I don't know if you're aware of what's happening. The first very democratic process for more accountability and another layer of accountability for our police districts, so that community has a voice in those spaces.
What is the vision you have for your ward, and how will you implement it?
The vision that I have for the 16th ward is more investment. We're going to start at Halsted. We're going to work our way to Racine. We've got the 59th Street Nature Trail coming. We're looking to reopen the Green Line station at 63rd and Racine. We're taking a vacant school, and that will be the house of a health center that will be now the home, soon to be the home of more housing, of trades. Then we're going to take development down the 63rd and Ashland, where we have a plot of a couple of acres of land that's just sitting vacant right by the Green Line at 63rd and Ashland, where we can welcome more families by way of housing, get some more small businesses by way of retail. So my vision is more housing, more businesses. More people, more businesses means less crime. When we have a beautiful community, I look at 53rd Street and I sometimes get jealous because I say, why isn't this 63rd Street? Why isn't my community able to just walk down the street on a random Saturday morning and they're able to get some coffee? They're able to have lunch with their family. They're able to take their children to different boutiques and can go shopping or do normal things. Those are that's the vision that I have.
Where can people go to find out more about you and your
www.16thward.org. My office is located 1137 West 63rd Street, right in the middle of 63rd Street on 63rd and Racine. We're on Facebook under Alderman Stephanie Coleman, 16th Ward. Hashtag Daughter of Inglewood, Sweet 16th Ward. I'm here to serve.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like our audience to know?
To please subscribe to the Citizen weekly paper. Support our Black publications. Support those that are telling our narrative. Support those that are telling our story. Our narrative is very important when we are telling it and not others, because others have a different agenda for us. And I'm not sidetracked about what's really at stake. And what's at stake is our land. In order to heal the land, we've got to own the land. But in order to own the land, we've got to have the resources to buy the land. And the resources come with investment. The resources come with opportunities at jobs so that you can be a homeowner, so that you can have a career, so that you will have trades and opportunity and learn a skill so that you can come back to heal our land so you can own our land.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.